Welcome to today's podcast, Healing Through Love, with Dr. Matt Singer, a holistic medicine specialist with an expertise in energy work, homeopathy, and works with people all around the world to help them remove emotions trapped in the body. And co-host Holly Celiano, a mother, intuitive healer, and well known to international audiences as a resource for truth seekers on a variety of global concerns that are currently impacting humanity. Today's focus: find the joy.
Hello, everybody. I'm Holly Celiano, and I'm here with Dr. Matt Singer. And today we're talking about joy. And joy, as you and I have talked about, Matt, is really the most important thing that you want to aspire to have each and every day, to find the joy in life. And I saw something last night that said, if you have joy, that is the greatest form of happiness in your life. And I really do agree with that.
I absolutely agree also. Holly, when we were talking about this topic, I think this is such a great topic because I know for myself, and I know for many people, in this world that we live in, we're not raised with the idea of joy. We're raised with the idea of fear. Even from the time we're little children, don't do this, don't do that, don't touch this, don't touch that, get good grades, listen to people, don't do this, get off this, stop fighting, stop that. And everything is rooted in fear. Even in religions, love God or God will kill you. It's all fear-based. And it's not joy-based, it's fear-based, because the fear is controlling, whereas joy is surrender and love.
Right.
So it's such an interesting opposition in the world in where we live. It's almost like it took me years to realize that I had it all wrong. It's not about. I always felt like I was running away from fear and trying to do things to please people, or I was afraid I wouldn't be approved of or loved, or I was afraid I wouldn't be good enough, or I was afraid I wouldn't amount to anything. It's all fear.
It is.
As opposed to feeling the joy in what you're doing and joyfully living and loving your life. And
for me, based on that fear, absolutely. But I always thought the highest form was love. And really, the highest form is joy.
Yes.
And when you live your life in joy each and every day, everything falls into place. There is almost a magical, it becomes a magical elixir to life itself. And for me, how I believe to be in joy each and every day is to be in the present moment, because so many people are trying to live in the past and they mull over things that have happened, or they're living in the future of all the things they want to happen, and they're not creating joy because they're not in the present moment. And if you wake up each and every day just for today, this is what I have, this is the present moment, this is what I'm going to enjoy right here, right now, whatever shows up, and I'm going to be in joy. That's how you create joy, in my opinion.
It's a great starting point. So if we wanted to give somebody a formula, if they said, I live every day of my life in anxiety and depression and fear, how do I start moving into joy? So let's say we were to start talking about that. We have somebody sitting right here and says, I have no clue what joy is or how to move into joy. What would your first step be?
My first step would be, go find some experience in your life where you have had joy. It could be the birth of a child. It could be finding the love of your life. It could be an incredible vacation you were on. Whatever that joy that you had experienced, find it and feel those feelings and emotions, and then bring that to the present.
Okay. So let's say, can I go a little deeper?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's say we're working with somebody who says, that's great, but I was raised in child slavery and sex trafficking and never lived a joyful moment in my life and don't know what it is. How do I find joy?
How do you find joy in that? That stumps me.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you handle that one.
So, and these are good. You don't mind I threw this out, right? I mean,
No, not at all.
and it's I'm not going to say to you that what we would say to this person is going to fix anything, but if the person says, obviously there's a purpose for life, everybody has a purpose, and if they started a life like that, there's a reason why the soul put them in that position, because there's something very powerful that their soul wants to bring forth from that lesson. So in helping them find joy, I would want them to reach for the future and let go of their now being consumed by their past. So all the memories that happened to them, all the terror that happened to that person, they're not going to find joy in that. It's impossible. So they have to stop taking that past and moving it into the future and living that horror every day. It would be the joy would come from the excitement of knowing that there's a divine reason why I had to experience this. It wasn't just by chance. Nothing is by chance. Everything is a divine architecture from the soul. So there's a divine reason why the soul had to set that person up in that situation. If it was happened to be me and I was raised in sex trafficking and then, saved by, another country, and it says, okay, go live a free life now. And I say, well, how do I do that? They say, well, the fun part is you're the creator of your life. So now you get to live a life that pleases you. So then I may say, well, the only thing I know was that horror. So I want people to not live that horror. So the joy would be for me to try and figure out how to prevent that from happening to somebody else. So I'd have to teach them that their joy is going to come in their new discovery of how they want their life to look, not
Right.
memories of the past. And it's definitely a hard one. I'm not saying to you that I have the answer either. You know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah.
And there are so many people having dealt with so many different situations. And, it's not just, okay, here, be in joy. A lot of people have triggers and emotional issues that have controlled them from their past. Again, it goes back to the emotional clearing. You've got to clear those trapped emotions in order to make room for joy in your life.
Yeah, that's a great point. So when you said the word control, think about that. Like, control is fear.
It
right?
is.
If I can control you, right? Because if I'm in a state of fear and I want to feel good about myself and I can control you to act a certain way to make me feel good, well, that's right. I mean, that's how a lot of stuff is manipulated. So, so let me ask you this. So I have been, to different synagogues and churches and different places of worship. And I'm sure you've experienced this also, where somebody gets up and says, they lived a horrible life. They were, beaten and raped and tortured by their parents or someone else, or this or that, their whole life. And then they were rescued and they were wondering what is life about, and they were about to kill themselves, and then they find God, right? Or they find that thing that all of a sudden fills their heart with love. So if you don't mind, let's talk about that. So when they find that thing, whatever it may be, the spiritual side, the enlightened side, they find themselves, they find their higher self. They have that mystical experience, they have that out of body experience, they have that near death experience, and they see a bigger picture. They see the people who have the near death experiences, who talk to God or talk to their angels, or they're seeing something bigger. All of a sudden, their heart is filled with a new purpose.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely. And that, that is something different for everybody. Everybody has some different aha moment or a deciding factor in their life when it's a turning point for them to change their pattern. I go back again to having breast cancer.
Right.
My life was in shambles. And then, I go and have breast cancer. And that to me was the greatest fear ever. But it was a turning point. It was the point that made me wake up, that aha moment, and say, do a self-analysis on your life. Look at every single aspect of your life. Why are you not happy? Why are you in this, state of mind? You created this by your thoughts, feelings, emotions. You can uncreate that and rewire yourself to have a different perspective in life. And for everybody, there's got to be some pivotal moment where it's almost like you decide, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and something dramatically shifts internally. And you can have a total change in perspective on what you're doing. And that's when, for me, it was, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to choose joy. I'm choosing me over all the other things that are going on in my life. I love me enough to say, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yes. So, and what you said is so powerful. So, and it's the little things that I've learned to really focus on. So you said, I choose to be happy. So there's two very powerful things. One, you made a choice. So part of joy is in the choice we make, because we can choose to stay stuck in our past, like we were talking about, like you were explaining. And the second thing was the state of being, because the physical world we live in is controlled by doing. Well, do this and you'll feel better. Okay, but there's only so many times I can do that until I'm exhausted and I don't feel better anymore. Do this. So the beautiful thing you said is being. So many times people don't understand the state of being. It's the most powerful thing. The circumstance does not matter. The only thing that matters is our state of being.
Correct.
So even if we went back to that very graphic example of somebody who was beaten or raped their whole life or put in sex trafficking, and once they get to the point where they realize that the circumstances that they were raised in don't matter, what matters is their state of being. If they can master their state of being and not let the memory of the past rule their state of being of negativity or fear, they can change their life. And that is where the soul wants us to go. The soul stands here saying, come on. You're so close. Come on. But the ego says, well, stay stuck in the past because that was wrong with what happened to you. And that shouldn't have happened to you. And now I want you to feel bad about yourself, because maybe if you feel bad about yourself, people will take notice and then you'll feel good about yourself because people will take pity on you. No way. That's not what the soul wants.
And again, it's people that are raised in those households. And my upbringing wasn't at all pleasant. I mean, I had an alcoholic father and lots of beatings. I lived in victimhood most of my life. And it was when I had, come to terms with breast cancer, when everything unraveled in my life. I saw the victimhood. I saw how I was perpetuating all of this by the past experiences, keep reliving. Well, that happened to me, so this is the way my life is. And I just completely unraveled it. Like I really did a deep, introspective, deep dive into my life. I'm not even remotely the same person today that I was back then. And my kids tell me now I'm badass because I don't put up with shit anymore. I just have clear boundaries And I think people need to move into that state of being. It doesn't matter what happened in your past. None of that matters. What happens right now is today. And each day we get a brand new day to make a choice on how we want to live this day. Do you want to live in the past mulling over what happened to you? Or do you want today to be the best day of your life and choose joy and happiness?
Yes. So I love what you said. So let's go back to that for 1 second, because this is really powerful. So you said it was like you became a new person. So as we know, I mean, one of my favorites is probably yours also, Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
He talks about the quantum field, right? And I like the description that he gives of the medicine cabinet mirror. When you move it and you look, you could see like 1,000 views one way and 1,000 views the other way, where he says that's like the quantum field so let me ask you this. So when you were dealing with your life in a way that you didn't like it, and all of a sudden you saw yourself, you saw the power, the magnificence of who you really were, and you became a new version. He says it's almost like stepping into a new box, like a new life where everything around us looks the same, but we are different.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like I could tangibly feel the difference in my field, in me. It was like I was in a totally new world.
Yes.
Because when we're wired the other way, we keep creating life based on how we're wired from our projections of our past. So if you're living a life of victimhood, everything that's going to show up in your life, you're the victim. You feel bad, the world's out to get you, everybody's out to get you, and that's how your life shows up. But then when you make that shift and that leap, your consciousness, your brain rewires and your consciousness shifts to a whole new perspective, and life takes on brand new meaning. You see the world from completely different eyes, and you're wired differently.
So we've literally become a new version of ourselves. So that's exactly how you did it, right?
Yes.
You literally saw the version of yourself that didn't serve you anymore, and you consciously became that new version.
Yes.
And then you felt this incredible love, self-love.
Oh, yes. I mean, it wasn't overnight. I mean, I've been a work in progress, as you know, but it's taking those steps where you can, when you see, you're set free. So I finally saw how I created all my unhappiness, all my life that I was in, because I finally saw it was me. It was nobody else, but it was me that was doing it, that created this. And I could then create what I wanted.
Yes.
And I set in motion the steps to start healing myself and to work on creating the life I wanted, creating the happiness within, and creating joy each and every day.
Yes. Yes. It's so interesting, because when you're talking about this, it just made me remember, when I was younger, sometimes we're not raised, we're raised in different ways. Like we will observe parents or loved ones or society acting a certain way, and that kind of subconsciously trains the unconscious to act a certain way. And I know for a very long time, I would have the energy of things are great, but I wonder how long this is going to last. So it was the energy that I didn't realize when I was younger, where I was giving all my energy away to a circumstance. I was saying, wow, things are going really well. I hope it lasts. I hope it lasts was really implying that I don't know how this happened to me, and I'm not the power that created it. And I hope whatever power allowed this to happen to me continues to bless me and with this. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago when I really realized that, oh my gosh, I have the power to change everything. I'm the one who brought all this stuff in. I'm the one who keeps it going. And that's really where, when we talk about like Joe Dispenza, that's where the meditation really came in in a very powerful way, and allowed me to see that the best way for my life to be predicted every day was for me to create it. And I created it, like you were saying, through those feelings. And, when we're talking about joy, it's like, to me, it's like surrendering to the old fears is what it was for me. The joy was just an absolute surrendering to the wondering if it's going to continue. And I moved into that state of being where I knew it was going to continue because I was the creator of it.
Right.
And
that's what also everybody needs to realize, like, let's break this down in steps. So if you're not having the life you want right now, today, you have a brand new 24 hours to define the life that you want. So sit and envision, like, take a really good look at your life and your circumstances, deep dive within, and see, why am I not happy? Why am I not in joy? Why don't I have the love of my life? Why don't I have, the house I want to live in, or whatever your circumstances are? Just sit and do an analysis of your life and see if you can find within you how you have created that by your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And then once you get really clear on that, you have today to sit there and create, well, what do I want? How do I want it to show up? What do I want my life to be like? You create it by thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And that's what is the steps to then start creating each and every day what you want.
Yeah, I love it. Have you heard of Helen Hassel?
No.
In Mind Valley, they talk about Helen Hassel. So she actually, the unique thing about her, she's on YouTube. Like, she's not alive anymore, but she did something amazing. She won virtually every contest she ever entered. She won every lottery she ever played.
Oh, yes, I did hear
her. Yes.
Yes.
So I Googled her because I heard about her, and I was reading, and she said in her YouTube, there's an audio of her. She said, I there was 4 things I did. And like, this brings me back to like her joy. So she called it SPEC, SPEC. The first thing she would do is she would select what she wanted, right? So she basically says to the universe, here's what I want. The second thing she did is she projected it with her thoughts. So with her frontal lobe, she would project out to the universe exactly what she wants to create. So she selected it, she projected it. Then she went to this energy of expectation. So expectation is the same energy of gratitude, and gratitude is the energy that we already have it. So she expected it. She didn't wonder or deliberate or hope. She expected it. And then she collected it. She said, I just knew it was coming. So from that expectation, she then would see the result, and she won. So that was her 4 steps. And, it's so interesting what you were just talking about, how we're gonna select what we want. And that's exactly what she talked about. She would just select it, project it, expect it, and collect it. And
I love that.
Yeah. And like you were saying, the vision, I know Bashar has 7 rules for manifestation. The first rule is vision. Have a vision. Have a clear intent vision, an all-consuming vision. So you're right. It all starts with a vision.
It does.
Yeah.
And then you have to feel it. Like, you really need to feel it as if it's already there.
Yes. And that feeling as though it's already there is the signature of gratitude. That's Joe Dispenza, right? He says. So if you have that signature of it's already there, you're grateful because you already have it.
Right.
Right. I like the way Neil Donald Walsh says, anything that we could ever ask for, ever want, ever desire already exists.
It does.
Right. We just have to step up our vibration to match what we've already created in our vortex.
Correct.
Right.
And that's the big thing, is your vibration. If you have all these, low feelings of victimhood and, living in the past, you're in a very low vibration.
Absolutely.
And for the life you want, for the joy, for the love, for even if it's financial, it's a higher vibration. That abundance is a high vibration. So it's raising your vibration up to match that already exists in the field.
Yes. So Holly, real quick, just for their viewers, so they have a sense of it. From what you just said was great. When we are stuck in the past, let's list some emotions of what someone would feel if they were stuck in the past. What would their chronic thoughts be?
A lot of the chronic thoughts would be they live in loathing. They loathe themselves. They're frustrated with themselves. They have regrets. They live in low self-esteem. They're very unhappy. They wish they could redo things over. A lot of fear-based.
Yes. So if we were another step to help the listeners out, so let's say the first thing they did is just like what you said. They wrote down everything that they were feeling. All those past memories are eliciting a feeling. So like, let's say one of them, let's just take, you said they were feeling low self-esteem. So to our listeners, let's say you wrote down the word low self-esteem. So to dissolve that, we want to break that down. So low self-esteem is implying that my self-esteem is created by somebody else's approval. So then you kind of break that down and you see the illusion of it. Like, then you realize, okay, well, what's the opposite of that? It's me deciding who I am, not somebody else. So now I'm moving from somebody else's approval of me to feel good about myself. I'm moving out of neediness, and now I'm moving into creation, where I'm deciding that I'm the approval, I'm the self-esteem. I'm the one who says I'm good enough, not based on the accomplishment, but just because of the fact that that's what I say. I'm good enough. Why? Because that's what I say. That's how we're created.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting. A lot of people, when I listen to them talk, they have a fear of rejection from people. So they are people pleasers. They go out of their way to people please, and they're doormats, and they get stepped all over because they don't want anybody not to like them. So they will put up with nonsense just to be in a relationship with, friends or even a spouse, just because they have such low self-esteem that they're afraid of being alone. And part of my journey is I went and was alone, not in any relationship whatsoever. And you have to get through that loneliness and be okay being alone. And there is a freedom in that. When you're okay with yourself and you're your own happiness, it's not anybody else. I'm my own good time. I don't need people around me to have fun. I have fun with myself. I create my joy. I don't need people to be joyful. So it's going through that awkward period of being alone to be okay being alone. And then you get to this point where, okay, I know who I am, and I don't need friends. If they're bad friends, I don't need to put up with bad relationships. I'd rather have nobody because I'm okay being alone. Yes. So when you have boundaries, people respect you so much more. When you have confidence, people respect you so much more. When you are a weak pushover, you're not respected. People know that they can, dump on you and get away with saying whatever, and you tolerate it.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that. So that was so awesome, because when we have low self-esteem and people dump on us, it's because life is a reflection. So if I am the low self-esteem, I can only reflect people back to me to make me feel more low self-esteem.
Right.
Right? The minute you moved or I moved, we all moved into that place of joy and self-love, self-appreciation. Everyone in our life starts to reflect that. So new friends show up, new relationships show up that reflect that. New opportunities show up. That's where the universe is truly a reflection.
Yes. And the friends I had in the past, most of them are gone because that old me, that only operated in that vibration I was in because they needed to control me. They needed to, overpower me and make me feel bad because that empowered them.
Yes.
And once I chose, I'm not doing this anymore. That's not me. That's not how I want to be. New people have shown up in my life, and everybody now that's in my life has it's so funny. So many people say, I don't ever want to get on your bad side, Holly, because they know I have very strong boundaries.
Yes.
Like they respect me and they know that they just can't treat me the way I used to be treated from, people in the past, because I will speak up.
Yes. And, and this becomes such a powerful, I love how it shifts like this. Because when we discover who we really are, we're not willing to put up with that old version anymore.
No.
And it's so freeing. It's so liberating.
It is very liberating. It's empowering. It's really empowering. And every time you face a new fear or you confront somebody and you have a voice and you speak up, it empowers you even more to continue doing this. Yes. And, we want to be empowered beings. We want to be super strong and confident and have a voice. And, you don't have to be nasty when you speak up, but just say, when you say blank, it makes me feel X. Or when you do this, I feel blank, or I don't like when you treat me this way. I'm not going to tolerate that.
And there's so much good, there's so much good juice in all that. And how deep we could take that. I learned the most powerful thing was that word, I feel like. And I learned that when I say the word, I feel like, and then I had to ask myself, but is it true? Like if I say, I feel like a loser. Okay. But is it true? That was the most powerful thing I learned, because the ego is going to stay stuck in, I feel like a loser. Then it's going to go to every memory that would ever make me feel like a loser. Well, remember when you were 7 and you tripped in front of everybody? And you remember when you were 14 and you missed that fly ball in baseball? And remember when that person made fun of you? It will remember every past memory when we give into that I feel like. When you become empowered, and then that I feel like all of a sudden becomes, but is it true? And then you hear in your heart, your soul say, no, it's not true. I'm not a loser. I've never been one. And it's impossible for me to be one because we're not created that way.
Right.
That's somebody else's belief system that I took on. And it was just a simple fear that said, but if I ever admit that maybe there's a chance I'm a loser, then that means I won't be loved.
Right.
And then I'm taking the power away from myself, saying, well, but then my old ego self would say, because love doesn't come from me, it comes from the approval of somebody else. And then the soul says, oh, no, it doesn't. It never has. That's why we came back here, to remember that you're the love.
And that, again, is the most important thing. When you love yourself, you don't need love from anybody else.
Yeah.
When you truly love yourself, I'm enough. I am confident.
Yes.
I care about me, that I'm not going to tolerate bad behavior. I love me enough each and every day to show up for myself, to have a voice, to speak up. And I will not allow another human being to put me down or make me feel bad because I love me.
Absolutely. And so basically what you're saying is when you know that you're the love, you finally remember that you're everything.
Exactly. You
And
are everything. You have everything within you, inside you that you want. Most people, and I spent half my life, more than half my life, looking outside myself for everything. And I believe most people do
absolutely.
also do that. When you realize everything is inside of you, everything you want, it's all inside of you, then that's the key.
Yeah. That was the thing for me that really set me free as well. When I realized that the source of my love, my power, my self-acceptance, my approval is from me. Now, and it's not like I have this figured out. Trust me, and that's why every day I have to meditate. Every day I have to do these things, because if I don't, my ego will say, "I don't really think you're the creator anymore." I think that things have to happen for you to feel good about yourself. It will go right back. So it's a constant reminder. That's why I will not go a day in my life without meditating anymore, because it just brings my higher self back in control and allows the ego to do what it's supposed to do. Don't turn left because there's a cliff there. Go right. Don't go straight. There's a car in front of you. That's what it's designed to do. The soul is pulling us. Come this way. Come. This is what you want. This is the lessons that we want to master. It's right there. Go that way. It's always guiding us.
It's building a muscle.
Yeah.
Those muscles are really out of shape and flabby. And we have to build that muscle each and every day to be strong. Just like you go to a gym to build muscle and, stay in shape. It's the same. Those internal muscles of your own self-worth, your love, your joy, you have to build that and work on it each and every day. Or, it goes to flab. Exactly.
So some of just to give our listeners some stuff, some of my favorite meditations that help me stay in a place of joy. Dr. Joe Dispenza actually has on YouTube a meditation called Joy. It's a guided meditation. He's got hundreds of meditations on there, and it just start with one. And just the easiest way to do it is before you meditate, just place a deep intention of what you want to become, what you want to learn about yourself, and then go in and just surrender. Surrender to your joy.
And I really believe for those that have had such trauma in their life, or anybody for that matter, if you wake up and your one intention today and each and every day is just joy and focus on that will then start the gears turning to shift everything in your life. Because then the universe will start providing joy back to you. It'll show up. When you're focusing on joy, it could be a simple thing that shows up that's joyful.
Yeah.
And joy now then becomes my whole daily experience, to live in joy from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. It doesn't matter what happens in my life.
Yes.
I'm choosing joy, and joy is such a high vibration.
Yes. So would you say another good tip for our listeners would be keep a simple gratitude journal?
Absolutely.
Right?
You can write down before you go to sleep at night 3 things that happened that you were grateful for. And if you do that each and every day before you go to sleep, you will see such amazing gifts start showing up every day. And it could be, for three things that showed up that you could be grateful for. If you can't even think of anything, just to have a bed to sleep on, just to have running water, to have a roof over your head, food. I mean, those are simple things, but they do create joy.
Yes. One of the years ago when I first got in, started learning about this, Dr. John Demartini, he's amazing. He in one of his books, it was called The Breakthrough Experience. He said one of the hardest exercises to do when you're first getting into this work is to write 100 things you love about yourself. And at first I thought, oh, that's easy. And I started it and I got to 8. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, because I was only looking on the outer, and it teaches you to go within. And then after about 2 weeks, I was able to really finish it and and then then from there, thousands. So he says, wake up in the morning and don't let your feet hit the floor until you feel such joy about yourself that you could welt up in tears of gratitude for you.
I love that.
Yeah.
That gives me chills. That would be a great thing for the listeners to write 100 things that you love about yourself.
Yes. It was the hardest challenge. But it's so I still have the list with me. I keep it with me. It is so enlightening, because we could walk around thinking, oh yeah, I love myself. And I didn't even know what love was before I started writing. I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't know what loving myself meant. And once I started writing, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really didn't. And
so what does loving yourself look like? How would you describe that?
It's a total acceptance, and it's a total gratitude and appreciation for everything of you, of your past, of your present, of where you're going. It's a total acceptance and unconditional love of everything that's ever happened in my life, everything I've ever done. It's seeing it all as divine perfection.
I love that. And that is so key, because it is embracing everything that happened in your life, because it made you who you are. Those experiences, if you didn't have them, you'd be a very different version of who you are.
Yeah.
And even for me, I've been through a lot of challenges in life. Those challenges are such blessings.
Yes.
They have enriched my life. They've made me dig so deep within to find out, why is this happening? What's the purpose of this? Why is this showing up? How can I use this to enhance me? What's the divine gift in this? And when you do that, there's no bad experiences. There's no good experiences. They're just experiences. We're living in a polarity, and it's in that polarity that we can navigate to find a balance, to find a center.
I love it. Love it. Absolutely. So in wrapping up, I love when you do your wrap up and your Holly summary of empowerment. So take it away. Give us the summary of.
So the summary of living your life in joy is, first of all, take a good hard look at yourself. Go deep diving. Look at why you don't have what you want, why you're not living in joy. Do a self-analysis, and then have a vision of what you want. Get really crystal clear. What is the life that you want to create for yourself? And then feel those feelings and emotions, because that's how you actually tangibly bring it to you. That's how you create it, by feeling it, because when you feel it, it's real. You know how that feels inside you. And then you just know it's going to show up. This is how it's going to be. And starting with joy each and every day, that is such a gift, to wake up and be in joy.
Yes.
Just, I'm going to have today. Today's all going to be joyful.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
So what's your wrap up, Matt?
My wrap up is to remember that you're everything. Remember that you are the love. And remember that everything you could ever desire already exists. It's just our job to raise our frequency to match what it feels like to be living that life. And to never doubt yourself, and to always know that you are the love and you are the creator of everything in your life. And be so thankful and grateful for every part of it, because every part of it is a blessing. And the people that you bless in your life that you don't even realize every day is so important. That would be
I
my
love
take.
that.
Yeah.
And just remember, everybody, whoever shows up in your life, they are a mirror to you of what it is you need to either look at within yourself. Let's just say somebody is, full of resentment. Well, do you have resentment in your life that you need to address? Maybe that's why they're showing up in your life.
Yes.
Look at everybody as a mirror, good or bad, or living in the polarity of what it is you need to work on.
I love it. That is so awesome. I can't thank you enough. This was so much fun doing this with you again.
This was awesome. So thank you. And everyone, go deep diving.
Yeah, I look forward to our next meeting.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining Healing Through Love, and please stay tuned for future shows. And join us as we spread the power of love.